had a GD2 RS modified, super fucking illegal. I should not have been driving this thing, roll cage in it. And I was flying to get to my studio and a cop pulled me over. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. And he goes, damn, it's a GT2 RS? I'm like, it is. He's like, pop that thing for me. Let me see what's inside. I was like, hell yeah, dude. He's like, I get it, man. Have a good day. He needs to find his reason. I don't need you to grow up on the streets and be starving and your dad used to beat you. I need this sad story like Sean Strickland. No. He's the outlier. You can do it, but you gotta find your reason. You gotta find that fire. That gives him the fuel to wake the fuck up at 5 a.m. and run, while that same kid in Brooklyn, New York, that's dead broke is running for a different reason. That's the rocket fuel you need to get to where you need to go.
Brendan, welcome to Oil and Whiskey, man.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys having me on.
I appreciate you doing it. It's going to be fucking cool.
It'll be all right. Let's not get crazy.
So you've seen this before, then?
We never know, you know?
Yeah.
I know you guys are great. I'm just all right.
You got a little more experience than we do here.
Podcasting, yes. Cars, no.
Yeah,
luckily we're doing a podcast.
Podcast with a podcast.
Let's just not judge each other, all right? Let's just.
That's a fair point, sir.
We'll tiptoe through this. See where it goes.
Oh man, so you've had your hands in fucking everything, and I'm excited to go through a lot of different questions and conversations and stuff. But fucking car thing is new to you.
Yeah, I mean, new as far as me showing it. You know, as far as me creating content around it, but as far as cars go, I've been modding cars since I was 16. Like I don't leave anything alone. So
don't tell us your first fucking car, because that comes at the end. We've got to fucking guess.
Oh, right? You got it.
All right.
You got it.
So don't ruin it with the story.
I won't. Yeah, so I guess as far as like the, making it public and stuff like that, I've always talked about cars. But never really at depth, what I do with them, stuff like that. And then really it was Joe Rogan and my friend Hector who was like, dude, I don't know why you don't post more of this, because I was always under the impression like I don't want to like brag or like it seems like a weird flex. He's like, no, man, like the stuff you're doing with your Ram TRX and the Ford Lightning, like put that out there. So I just ran with it. To be fair, it was their ideas. I'm usually kind of shy about that stuff.
Oh, you're doing a fucking killer job on it, and running in some cool fucking circles and the off-road shit and stuff like that. So anxious to see where that goes. I do have it's an interesting segue. I do have a question. We're just gonna get fucking deep right out of the bat.
Oh,
yeah, right off the bat.
Dive into it.
Yeah, get into it. So you have been successful in a lot of different fields. I did some reading beforehand. I know you had a football career and did some college football and played. You've done a lot of different shit, and it seems as though all the different things, specifically UFC fighting, comedian, and podcast, you put yourself out there on a stage, and I don't have to tell you this. Everybody's got an opinion, and they love to be able to tell you what their opinion about you is, right? And it can be flat out fucking hurtful at times. You have to have the thickest fucking skin out there, and we'll get into a lot of that. But have you seen a difference in the car community on just overall acceptance and being like, oh, that's fucking cool, versus being like, you're a fucking tool bag? Yeah,
you nailed it. I think I'm always like a team centric guy. Like I always go like I like a community. I like a team. Like I like family. So when I was playing football, it was a team. You had your team. When I was fighting, when you watched, a UFC fight, you saw just me in there, but there was a team. I was all about the team. In comedy, before COVID hit and destroyed LA because of Newsom, there was a team. I had a core. And then as I got in the car community, I come from, when it comes to, mixed martial arts, the UFC, that's probably one of the harshest communities you can come from. It's very toxic. It's just the nature of the beast. It's a newer sport. There's a lot of opinions. It's very, very toxic. They're the best fans, but on the backside of that, you also have the worst, most toxic fans. Well, the only people that compete with a MMA audience would be comedy. So it's very toxic. Again, some great people out there, but for the most part, it's very toxic. So I'm used to that. So I'm used to, catching strays and dealing with the hate. And so when I got in the car community, I thought, I'm built for it. I have big shoulders for a reason. So I was like, all right, let's do it, man. And I figured people were going to be pretty mean to me, pretty nasty, because, I'm not Carol Shelby, or, I don't have a background in this, or, I can't build the motors myself. So I was like, all right, here we go. But again, nothing new. When I went from football to fighting, I dealt with it. I was just a football player. And then I started fighting. And then when I went to podcasting, I was just a fighter. Okay. Then I went from podcasting and comedy. I was just a podcaster. Okay. So I'm used to it by now. But the difference is why I gravitate, why I'm so addicted to this whole automotive industry, especially in the off-road and the racing, the community. Like right away, like my first friend in kind of the industry was Ryan at Kibitech.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had Ryan on here.
Yeah, and Ryan's my boy, and we just hit it off right away. And I couldn't understand, because remember where I come from, especially in entertainment. I've been in Hollywood now 12 years, maybe 13 years. If somebody wants something from you, they want something back. Like nobody's doing it pro bono. Nobody's doing it because they're a good person.
Dude, I keep hearing about that on the fucking news. Like Diddy, it seems like everybody wants something. Like,
Yeah, I think
is that where we're going? Where we going with this?
Yeah, exactly. So when Ryan was like, "Yeah, dude, I'll hook up your TRX. I'll put this long, suspension on it or this," I was like, "Oh man, he's probably gonna want to see my dick or something."
Sure, dude. For some big ass king shots, fuck yeah, I'll show you my dick.
Oh, dude, whatever it takes. For king shots, I'll show you my asshole. I'm saying? Those are great shots. For Fox, not so much. But with that, yeah. So I was always hesitant. Like I'm like that wounded, shelter animal you get from the shelter. Like I was always kind of like, oh, he's gonna ask me to, who knows, co-host a podcast, do a set at his shop. Like I figured it was coming. It just never came. And then he was my first introduction into the market. And then I met Ramsey at King Shocks, and he used to work with Monster when I was in the UFC, so he's a familiar face. And now those guys are like family. And then Magnuson and Borla and Willwood and all these brands, man. And I was just like, oh, like I have a community. Like these are really good people. They're just doing it because they're good people. And I just gravitate towards that. And I know I need that in my life. Like I need that structure. I need that community. I need that family. Otherwise I don't do well. So the car community has been so supportive. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some dumbasses out there saying, oh, this guy got into this. Okay, whatever. So that comes, but in general, it's been great, man. It's been absolutely great.
Nice.
Which is surprising.
Yeah. I think the car community as a whole, I mean, especially compared to if you're looking at like fight fans, and I mean, dude, the car community is way fucking easier than that. This is an inclusive community. It's a safe place.
It does. The only time it gets a little, not even close, but it goes down that path is on YouTube, right? So when you post a video about something, that's when, but it's generally like, you're an idiot, wear your seatbelt. I can't believe you're not wearing your seatbelt, or I don't like the wheels, or you should have been lower, should have been higher, whatever. But it's just opinions, but they're not super hurtful.
Well, I think here's the reason that I've figured this out. Like we're in a sweet spot where we have like virtually zero fame, right? He's in a different spot. So the people commenting our shit are like loyal fans, customer base.
Okay.
So they're not going to say something hurtful. Right. You don't have that, dude. Like we don't have the reach where some guy's just going to be like, I fucking hate your face. Other than you. Or you. But
there's a competitive, sorry to interrupt you. There's a competitive nature, where if you're using, Magnuson compared to Whipple, like some of that, so there's juggling that kind of side of things, which I feel like I do a pretty good job at. But outside that, there's not a ton of it, because I also think like what you guys do, especially the guys that build engines. Like I'm not talking about throwing a bolt on or throwing some mod on, like people that actually build the engines, talking about the pistons, the camshaft, like the builders, man. It's such a unique trait. And to me, like it's no different than a doctor. It's just an engine. So it's just a unique trait. And the way the world's going with electric, which we can get into if you want to get me riled up. I
let's do it. No pissing people off.
Dude, I fucking hate electric. So the issue is like the people that build motors, like combustion engines, you have such a special trait that's dying. That's dying. And the younger generation's not learning it. And it gives me anxiety. And to be honest, that's how like my path towards whatever I'm doing now and the stuff I have going on in the car world, it all started from my anxiety because I live in California. And people go, man, you hate Teslas and you hate electric cars. I'm like, you don't understand. I'm in California. So I have Newsom as my dictator. And he's telling me that by 2035, I can't drive a gas-powered vehicle. So I'm an American. It's in my genetics. It's in my fucking DNA to resist that. For you guys going along with this is insane to me. So I got this anxiety like, oh my God, they're good. I have to drive electric. And I hate them with a passion. I hate them. So when I get so upset at electric cars, it's because of that. I'm in California. We play by a different set of rules. So once I found that out, I couldn't sleep. And then it hit me. I've had exotics. I've had a bunch of cars. I've had a crazy ride, stuff like that. And I started going to educate myself on electric and how they're built and, the cobalt and what it takes to, mine all that stuff and how
it's super clean. And that's very
well, the whole narrative on it, the whole marketing on it is just trash, but people are buying into it. And remember, I'm in California, aka North Korea, where when we locked down, like we were the strictest community. We were the strictest out of all the states. So when I see that stuff and people go along with it, and people go along with this electric, like you got to research, you got to look into it, man. So I looked into it more, and I create this hatred for it, and that's what fuels me. And so then I went, all right, we're not going to do that. China has their hand involved this with the charging stations, which we can get into. If you want to head down the electric path, China's going to own all that shit. Okay, cool. I'm anti that. What's anti that? And then Dodge started, it's not, obviously they're not marketing towards me, but they're speaking to my soul. They're making the Hellcats, and they're putting that Hellcat in everything. They're putting in fucking SUVs. I can't believe they didn't put it in a minivan. They put it in fucking everything. And then I saw a commercial for a Dodge Demon 170. And I thought, holy shit, they're allowed to make that in today's world?
Oh, yeah, it's fucking America right there.
The fastest production car of all time. Hold on, it comes with Mickey Thompson fucking slicks front and back. Hold up, I can put E85 in it, and it's over 1,000 horsepower.
Dude, it's nuts.
I need that. Like that's American. That's fucking American.
So
man.
you and Brian Callen went in together and each bought one, right? Because I'm sure that's right up his fucking alley.
Dude, I wish he did. I wish he did.
You know what? They fucking missed out big time on T-tops on that car. If you're talking fucking American and all that, they should have put T-tops on it.
That 1,000 horsepower may negate it.
T-tops with fucking American flag, like removable American flag. T-tops.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Oh, dude, I'll storm the Capitol. My fucking Dodge. That's how far that I am. I'll drive that thing right in the fucking Capitol.
Fucking wheel it all the way in there.
But the whole thing, I don't get the narrative around it because obviously, I didn't want the podcast to go this angle, but whatever. But obviously, with the narrative around electric, how it's better for the environment and do this and do that, it's not real. It's no different than the agenda they're pushing with the vaccines and all this shit. If you want to do it, do it. But when you force this is when you have my attention. That's why I'm going to fight back. So when it comes to the Hellcat and the V8s, there's clearly an audience for it. And I know Stellantis knows this. I know Dodge knows this. Ford sure as fuck knows this. I know Chevy knows this. But you guys are going away from it. In the circles I'm in and the places I go to Mid-America, I go all over. Nobody's fucking with electric. And there's a reason sales are down. So I just can't comprehend in those marketing meetings why they would get rid of the V8s and they're going hybrid and they're going electric. Because you got to read the room, man. Americans want that V8. There's a reason why Dodge, the 170s are going 100,000 over sticker price. There's a reason Hellcat's one of the best-selling cars of all time. The engine. There's a reason why the new Super Snake Ford sells out like a motherfucker. So there's a demand there. Yet we're being told, nah, man, it's electric. Really?
Well, dude,
Nobody I know.
The fucking problem is it's the damn government. Anything the government touches, they fuck up. Right. So they're only doing it. They're not doing it because they think it appeals to the masses. They're doing it because they're getting fucking cash infusions from the fucking government. The incentives and what must be going on behind the scenes, the kind of fucking money that's getting funneled into those OEs to do that electric shit must be absolutely mind blowing.
Yeah, the debt forgiveness on the bailouts from 20 years ago and shit like that.
They're not fucking stupid. I mean, Dodge knows what's up. They know who to market to, what to build. They know their audience, right?
They just killed the Hellcat and everything. That's
my thing. Do they know their audience? Like Ford is speaking. Like
Ford's the last man standing.
Yeah.
And then I love Ford came out and said, we will always offer a V8. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh man, like I'm not the biggest Ford guy. I have a Ford Lightning, a 2024 Ford Lightning, or 2004 Ford Lightning, 20-year-old truck. I like some of the Fords. And then once they came, I've been a Mopar guy all my life. And then once they came out, like, we're never not going to make a V8. I went, you got me. I'm in. I'll ride with that all day.
Hey, some of that shit though is I'm interested to know marketing side of things. Like you said, we always worry they can't be that stupid, right? But at the same time, think about how smart they may be, right? What do you think that there was a higher demand and a surge on some of these, specifically Mopar stuff, and then some of the Camaro shit too, when everybody knew it was going away, and they're saying all electric in California by this date, all electric. These are going to last once, right? So you've got it pushing from one side.
Fake
you got
demand.
The rebellious nature of everyone like, well, fuck, they're telling me I can't have it. I really wasn't in the market for like 1,000 horsepower street car, but now, fuck yeah, I'm going to because you tell me I can't. Then you announce that this is the last year, right? Or we're canceling it next year. Well, they sell fucking everything that they made, right? You're telling me that probably can't come back in 18 months, 24 months. Guess what? You guys wanted it.
It depends how the election goes.
Well, yeah.
And I deal with all these companies, and it's not a left or right thing. It's a combustion engine anti-electric thing. So if one guy wins, you can figure out we're going all electric. That old fuck wins, who's stuttering through his speeches, he wins. Get ready for electric. If the other guy wins, dude, we're come roaring back. V8's out the fucking ass.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
big block.
Hellcat in a minivan
fucking
right
big
there.
blocks are coming back. There's going to be the Gen 3 Hemi. That's going to be OG, like 528, huge fucking cubic inch. They'll have fucking
all carbureted.
Paint cans
doing away with the
EFI. Bringing back the 6-pack on top.
Hell yeah.
I've got a problem just looking at this a little deeper on any, I've got a problem with government in general, but if you look at it from a president standpoint, from a president pushing the agenda with cars and cars production and the OEs and how they do things, a president shouldn't be able to do that because the day he's elected president, he can no longer drive at all. I'm just being serious. They give up their license. From then on out, forever, he can never drive on a public road, right? So he knows right then he's never going to have any fucking joy unless he's going to be like LBJ or Reagan and drive his Lincoln around his ranch. But let's face it, that's not normal life anymore. So at that point, he has no say in what common folk like us do for a daily, daily driver, a weekend toy, or whatever it is, because he no longer has a dog in the fight. He's not going to be driving anymore. So fuck off.
But they also don't see like the blue collar, the middle class that create all these products for combustion engines. So Kippy Tech, King Shots, all these companies, Borla, Magnaflow, Whipple, they all just go to the wayside. They don't care, man.
Dude,
that's all.
I'm not trying to get crazy, but maybe we should all meet up and go to the DC, let our voices be heard.
That happened once before. It
didn't end
well.
Didn't
go over well.
No, but
maybe we'll get some hats so everybody will remember who we were.
Yeah, you touch on a great point though, that it's always floating in the back of my mind when you talk about all these aftermarket manufacturers. The government, they could give a fuck about all of them. They don't realize if you pull the plug on just internal combustion shit to watch, that ripple effect of how many fucking companies are just out of business. They already did it with headers. Headers and fucking exhaust systems.
Yeah, but they're going to brag quarterly about we added 250,000 jobs nationwide. They're going to kill at least 100 million jobs.
How big is the aftermarket industry? I feel like you would know this.
That's a giant.
Just seem a fact.
Sure. It's 30 something billion, I think. That could be wrong.
That's huge.
I did. We're gonna have Mike Spagnola from SEMA on the next episode, right?
We'll follow up on that.
I heard him talk about it on a podcast.
Yeah, that's a massive number, but
Will you fellas be at SEMA?
We will.
I'll be there. Let's link up there.
Fuck, we should do it for sure.
Dude, we have a fucking ripper party there every year.
Oh,
if you're around.
I've never been. It's my first time. I was supposed to go last year, but I couldn't make it. I think I was on tour. So, but this year, the plan is I'll be there.
Oh, we'll hook up offline for sure and set it up. Yeah, we've got a pretty kick-ass party you need to be at. Transitioning a little bit, I got to ask. So, there is a question in this statement. So, you mentioned team sports, right? Your dad has a MMA background, right? I read a little bit about that.
Karate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You played high school football.
Correct.
You went to college, then you transferred to Colorado, I think.
He knows all this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying I'm going through the stuff. But so team sports is a thing, right? So team sports is a thing, and you are judged individually on the effort that you put in for your team, right? But it is team. Well, at the end of the day, the score really matters, right? So you can judge your success by your own personal achievements, but most importantly by the season record, right? How many wins and how many losses, right? You don't have a judge saying you were good, you were bad. So then you move into MMA, right? And that's a totally different discipline. And there is a team supporting you, but at the end of the day, it's you that's out there that has to do it. But you try to win by submission or knockout, right? You don't want to be judged. You don't want to have somebody say whether you did a good enough job or not, right? So it's still mostly up to a win or a loss. Well, then you transition into comedy, right? Which the measure of success there is
it's fucking
difficult.
People laughing.
It's what makes some people laugh. It doesn't make other people laugh, right? And you can measure your success, individually by your bank account or by the opportunities that you get or stuff like that. But it's very difficult to leave a night and know, well, I just left it all out there. I just nailed those 4 fucking jokes that I've been working on for the last 2 years, the best of my ability. And half the people fucking laughed. And I think half of it went over their heads. Then you start getting in your own head being like, well, they're too fucking stupid to understand it. Or I've got to dumb this down. So it's a completely different measure of success. Well, now you're moving into the fucking you moved into the podcast thing, which is also even more fucking convoluted because it's so new.
You got to remember, I have a limited attention span. We all know this.
Yeah, we're getting there.
You're losing. I'll watch this.
You'll tune back in.
Go back and watch it.
You'll tune back in. And
got it.
So now you're moving into the car side of things, which if you're not building a car to race, right? If you're not going out and you're not NASCAR, you're not F1, you're not doing, score, you're not doing Baja, you're not doing something like that. Building a car for fun, for views, for entertainment, for a show or stuff like that. I'm not saying that we're on a similar level in any means, but you don't have a measure of the success of wins and losses. When you're doing that, it's a completely different train of thought. How did you manage all of those different careers and the measure of success so wildly different?
I guess when it comes to success, as far as the car industry goes, I think one of the things that helps me deal with all of it is I didn't get into cars because I want to make money or I need views. I do it because I would be doing it whether there's a camera or not. So anything, whether it's, my merch line, the whiskey, I do it because I have a passion for it. It's what I want to do. So for cars, if I got 1 view or 1 million, I would be doing it regardless. So it's a win for me because I love doing it because it's my passion. So like a lot of stuff I do, the team's not around and they can't film it. And I'll pull in, they're like, oh, dude, you did carbon fiber fenders? When? I'm like, oh, I was up all night. I just put them on like, well, do we need to film that? I'm like, nah, I don't think about it. I'm like, sorry, man. Sorry. So I don't know what success looks like as far as the automotive, because I don't view it as that. I'd be doing it, no matter what. So it's a little different. I don't view it as a job.
Got you.
I think most people in the automotive world don't know what success looks like either. It is a tough fucking career.
Yeah, it's a completely. I just from all the different stuff.
I think the one of the reasons, I'll work with all these companies and brands and shops and mechanics is I think because it's such an old trade, one of the number one things I find, especially in today's world, right? It's all about social media and marketing. They're really bad at that because maybe they don't have someone on staff who knows that stuff, or it's just not their forte, or they're not into it, which is to each its own. That's fine. But in the world we live in, if you want more sales, you want more attention, you have to give that some attention. And I don't like doing it either. If my whiskey company or somewhere to sell, you'll know I'm doing well because I don't have a cell phone. I hate cell phones. I hate social media. I'd be out, man, but I can't. It's like you're your own PR team, with social media. So I think because the car industry is so old school, a lot of them are really bad when it comes to marketing and reaching new people, and that's where I can help.
Yeah, you got to feed the machine once that gets started.
What do you think taught you, or how did you learn along the way the fucking perseverance? Because I'm from a distance, a casual fan and enthusiast, and from your career, fucking A, dude, nothing's been easy. Like, I know you've had friends and I know you've had stuff helping, but I mean, I look back and you talk, I know I bring back the football thing, but you played football, you didn't get a scholarship, right? Then
I was a walk-on, then earned a scholarship 2 years later. So I had a scholarship for 2 years. Yeah.
So you had to work for that thing. It's not like after high school, you're like, boom, I got 16 offers. I'm going to choose which way, blah, blah. Then you didn't get drafted after college, right? So then you move on and you're doing, short of the MMA thing, which you had relatively quick fucking success. I mean, you're talking 6-7 months into it, you're getting fucking KOs, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, you move into podcast stuff. It's been fucking hard. And it doesn't, from the outside looking in, I mean, we're not in your head. From the outside looking in, but you mentioned at the very beginning, broad shoulders. You fucking just like sweep it off and on to the fucking next thing. Let's keep fucking going. Unlike anybody I really have ever seen.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. It's my dad, just work ethic. So I'll have friends who will say, oh, whatever, Schaub brought a professional athlete's work ethic to podcasting or to stand up. And now with the cars, like, watch out. It's like, no, that's not a professional athlete's work ethic. I've been with UFC fighters, NFL players, they have horrible work ethic. They're just so talented, they get away with it. So that doesn't work for me. The work ethic, it's across all boards. That work ethic came from my dad. I mean, dad, blue collar, self-made. So when I was young, he taught me the work ethic. So no matter what I'm doing, whether, I was a janitor for a short period of time when I was young, I was the best janitor there was. I was there early, stayed late. Like, it's just a work ethic. So wherever you put me at, that work ethic isn't going to change. So whether it's in the car business, fighting, podcasting, stand up, that work ethic is who I am.
We've talked about that probably fucking 50 times on this podcast in the last 3 years. There's kind of 3 ways to oversimplify it. There's 3 ways to be born. You're born with a God-given talent and limited work ethic, right? You're born with a work ethic and limited talent, right? Or you were born like fucking Tom Brady and you got both, right? And you got work ethic and you got talent, right? And you move along. But we've debated internally on the podcast with other guests, what some guys were born with the talent, right? And they don't have to work as hard and they can still be good.
Yep. We pulled it a little bit, and the hard work, it definitely overshadows talent.
It does.
Because you can have a fucking shit ton of talent and not do anything with your life, Well,
and hard, I mean, he's the point of hard work will overcome it because you can pivot. Right? If you're not going to be talented in every single thing in life. You're not going to be born talented to do everything. You couldn't be the best pilot, the best heart surgeon, the best football player, the best baseball player, the best everything. So hard work will persevere. When one time or one season in your career comes to an end, the hard work allows you to pivot into something else and become great at that versus just dealing with a God-given talent or born to a talent. It's fucking,
I think a lot, like you'll see a lot of NFL players, even college, and a lot of UFC fighters too. They have the work ethic, but they identify as a UFC fighter or as an NFL football player, and they don't know how to get out of that. So then they get done, and they have the work ethic where if someone just direct them, or they'd have a passion and they bring that work ethic, they're gonna do well, man. But a lot of them can't find that passion or the direction to go. So you see a lot of UFC fighters, you know, they're working at the UFC gym, holding mitts, or they open up a gym. But these guys, if they were able to find a passion, something they're into, and bring that same work ethic, they're going to kick ass, man.
Who are some dudes out there that are just UFC guys that are just fucking born with it, that are like, can just roll out of bed and walk into the octagon and just fucking dominate, versus some dudes that maybe didn't have it, that worked their fucking ass off to get there?
There's not many. When it comes to UFC, it's different than other sports, because with the training and the cardio and stuff, you do get, there's one guy, he just happens to be the greatest of all time, is John Jones, where, you know, I was in training camp with him years ago. I mean, probably 12 years ago, 14 years ago. But I went down to Jackson's to train with him. And I was super disciplined. I was on a strict diet. I was running 6 miles a day. I was in the best shape of my life. This dude was out all night doing his thing, rolled up, you know, and I woke up early. I had coffee. I hit everything right. I warmed up correctly. He just rolls out of bed, put on his gloves, and was like, yeah, let's do it, and beat the shit out of me. And I was like, oh, okay. Check, please. Check, please. Like, I was like, yeah, everything's optimal for me. This guy's going off, you know, 3 hours of sleep, and he beat the shit out of everybody.
I know he doesn't need it, but why don't his legs grow? Why has his legs never fucking put on any mass? He does. He works fucking at it.
I hope he's watching this.
Calves, I hope he's not watching it too. Calves are hard to grow, my man, you know? But I wish that was the least of my worries.
He's a fucking beast. God, he's a fucking beast.
But again, mentally he's stronger than anybody. Because if you gave me 4 hours of sleep and you didn't give me 8-week training camp and all the right coaches and the training and all that and check all the boxes, I'd be a disaster fight night. But I knew I had confidence going in fight night because I knew I did everything possible to get ready to win. With John, mentally, he can just go, nope, and he can just zone that out. And even though he hasn't put in the miles or whatever, the cardio like I did on the road, he just goes to a different zone and he can beat guys that did.
I see what you're saying, but I disagree, dude. You're stronger mentally because you didn't have to make the choice to put in the fucking work. You could have obviously gone out and fucking partied, and you could gone out and hang out. You could do all the fucking thing that everybody else falls in the trap of, because especially after a couple fights, you get a couple fight win streak, right? And you realize like, well, fuck, I won easily, but I just put myself through hell for camp for 6 months, right? I probably don't have to do that as much. I don't have to cancel every single night out, right? I could probably drink a couple of times, right?
Depends how much you won by.
That's where the mental fucking toughness is. And I'm not trying to pry too deep into your fucking life. The reason we talking about this shit is it's rare that we get an opportunity to talk to somebody has your background, that's persevered like you have, that's not been in the automotive industry. We have a common theme in this podcast, and it's came about organically because there's so many shops, big, small, been in it for 2 years, been in it for 30 years, right? If you haven't already figured out, you're going to figure out fucking soon. Luckily, you don't have to make a living doing the car thing, but they will suck your fucking life out, right? They will suck your soul out. There's been to doing it for a living. You can put your entire, I'm not trying to put us on the same level. What I would assume on the comedy side of things, where you put your entire soul out there for everybody and into this vehicle, right? And you do everything that you know how to do, and you've done it 100 fucking times, but for some reason, something doesn't go right. And it's at 3 o'clock in the morning and you've missed your kid's birthday, or you done this, or you, a part, nothing that you had anything to do with your skill level, a fucking part failed, right? And you've got the customer, they're driving it, and you're stuck on the side of the road, and you're looking at him like, I'm a complete fucking failure. And it's so interested from your side of things to go through the mental toughness. Like, we're doing cars, right? We're not fighting for a living, right?
You're fighting the car though.
You're fighting the fucking car. It's like a fight.
Most of these cars, by the time you get them done, I feel like the visual would be like you're like the dude who's in the final round, whose fucking nose is laid over on the side of his face, his cheekbones are split open, he's covered in blood, and that's what it takes to get one of these things fucking done. It's crazy.
Yeah, maybe because I fought in the UFC, but even with that stuff, like I view it different. Like I think we're on the same level. You know, I do think I would definitely argue against that statement or that perspective. Not that I'm, I want to argue.
No,
I think when it comes to that stuff, like maybe it's because I was around it. I grew up around it, whether it's football and Division I football at University of Colorado or in the NFL or with the UFC, and I see those guys, and I view it as when I was in the gym learning jiu-jitsu, I'm a black belt, or boxing. You guys were working on cars, so I decided to go this route. You guys decided to go this route. I would assume we put in the same amount of time, maybe put in more hours. But I don't think I'm special because I decided to walk in a jiu-jitsu gym and you decide to walk into a car shop. So I think the work ethic and the mentality is similar. Maybe athletically it's different. I don't know. Maybe you guys are fucking fast and I don't know.
No, dude. But still, if you ever watch Josh try to jump, he's fucking not as
I don't view that stuff like that. I that's also like I can go into a meeting. I don't care who it is. And I'm never in shock or I'm never in awe, whether it's whoever it is, whatever high level they're at, because I know I have the confidence where, it's not, I don't want to seem like I have an ego or like I'm bragging, but my thing is like, when I decide to go into jiu-jitsu gym, he decided to, go into a car shop. That's cool. Good for him.
Yeah.
Because I know stuff he doesn't know. He knows stuff that I don't know. All good. Let's talk about, let's figure out what we're going to do together. So I never put anybody on a pedestal, especially athletes, because they were pushed towards that, where if they were pushed towards cars, maybe they would have been successful with that. So I think you guys could have done anything you wanted. You just gravitated, or for whatever reason, the way it worked out is you focused on cars.
Yeah, that's a great fucking point.
That is, dude. That's a great way to look at shit. And I've done that sometimes because you're getting ready to like meet somebody that you're a little intimidated by, or you're stepping into a fucking meeting. And I've done exactly what you say, that you have to like stop and think. You're like, well, dude, I've kind of done a lot of shit myself.
Just different.
It's just different, right?
Yeah.
So
same amount of work, just different work.
Yeah.
And you busted your ass to get there.
Everybody's a black belt in something. Everybody's people could learn a shit ton from you. Like if you walked in, let's say Steve Jobs was alive today, he can't do what you can do. Right. You don't have a fucking chance to, if you give him, you give him a car, you're like, all right, figure it out, dude. You don't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, let's see, put it together, Steve. It's such a great point that you raised, and I think that it's important for everybody here, builders out there. I mean, home builders, enthusiasts, everybody that's listening and stuff. Because we've seen it so often. You see guys, right? And you've spoken about this in your comedy specials. So if you want to cut it out, just tell me you want to cut it out. But I'm not trying to be too personal, but I've seen guys go to a car show. They've been in the business a year and a half, 2 years, right? They build a car. They don't win the award. That's it. Whatever event, right? A Good Guys event or at SEMA or something like that. Somebody that's judging cars, that doesn't build cars possibly, doesn't pick their car. And they're devastated, right? They're, fuck this, I'm going to find another industry to get into. And they look at that as failure. Now, I'm going over to you. Back in the day, you were dating Ronda Rousey, right? Mm-hmm. There's some stuff come out. There's some rumors before a fight. And this was Matt Braun, right?
Travis Brown.
Travis Brown, sorry. There's some rumors about that. She shows up to the fight. It didn't go your way. Yeah. And that's not a judging thing, right? It didn't go at you.
It's a definitive.
It's a definitive thing. And that's not that's not good.
I got beat up.
That's not Good Guys Columbus. Right, that didn't get a trophy. Yeah. That's on national fucking TV, right? And that's a wake up, a literal wake up, and you just, I'm so intrigued by the mental
dealing with that loss,
and not there's a lot going in it emotionally and personally and shit like that. Fuck.
Not for me. I think from the angle when you hear about that, like, oh my God, that's crazy. But it was the last thing on my mind. And then also, again, what helps me is I never identified as a UFC fighter. It was my job. I decided to focus on it, happened to be pretty good at it. It worked out. I made some money, got some fame. Cool, man. So even then, even before that fight, I told my team this is the last one. So I didn't, it's not that I don't care. I wanted to win the fight. But I'm good. I believe in myself where if this chapter ends, I'll figure something else out. I always do.
Dude, you're fucking built different. fuck, you're built different.
I'll figure it out. It's stressful, no doubt. You know, I'm not going to pretend that it's easy, but I believe in myself and my work ethic. So I'm like, I'll figure it out. But yeah, going to that fight, that was the last thing on my mind. I didn't care. And I think it's funny too, today, like kids, you'll see whatever it is. Recently for me, I flipped my TRX, right? I built this TRX 1300 horsepower. I flipped it and I was on the fence about posting it. And people think that was my first time off-roading, whatever, teach their own. They're wrong. It's not. It just happened. It flipped that time and we were recording. So I decided to post it. And then so many people will put, God, Schaub gets so many L's. Like there's so many L's. And they'll refer to my UFC career like, oh, this guy takes L's. He wrecks his truck, L's, or some L's. I'm like, oh, guys, you're so off, man. Like if you think, I guess me not becoming a world champion in the UFC is an L, but I had a 9-year career as a UFC fighter. If you think that's an L and you're fucking making my Frappuccino at Starbucks, bud, it's an L, buddy.
That's a big W, dude. That's a fucking W.
It depends how you look at it, right? Like, it's all perspective. It's all perspective. So even with my TRX, when I flipped it, I was off. I mean, I've been off-roading a bunch. I grew up in Denver. So, you know, I've been out there, Johnson Valley, which is a famous, you know, they have the big off-road stuff out there in Johnson Valley. And we decided to film. I was doing it all day. And so when I flipped that, I remember my first initial reaction, I was so upset because my truck's destroyed. I was glad I was all right because I got kids and I was really upset at myself because I bring my son to everything I do because I think it's on, you know, dads today to pass down, you know, car knowledge to their kids. Otherwise, this is going to go extinct.
Yep.
So I bring my son everywhere. You see me, you'll see my son at SEMA. He comes with me. I buy any car. He comes with me. I teach him about cars. He can pick out all the cars out there. I'll drive him. I'll pick him up from school today. When I get done with this, I pick him up. He'll see a Tesla. He'll go, boo. So he loves it, man. He loves the cars, but everything. So I got emotional because he was supposed to be with me that day. And his mom goes, no, I got something else he has to do. And she just didn't want him to go. She had a weird feeling. So I got really upset myself because he would have been in the back seat. Ooh. That's what I was most upset about. I was upset about wrecking my truck. I was embarrassed. And, you know, but again, people go, that's an L for Brendan. It got 50 million views.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what I was. That's what I was gonna say. From a social media standpoint, that's got to be the biggest win possible. Has to be your biggest post, like
perspective.
Biggest post ever. Right. Biggest post ever. So 50 million views. Again, that's whatever. I didn't post it to get 50 million views. I thought it'd do maybe 100,000. It's just me and the flipping a truck. Who gives a shit? People gave a shit. But from that L that people want to talk about, well, Matt Martelli from the Mint 400 reached out to me. Was like, why don't we teach you how to race? So I started working. I became close with BJ Baldwin. So all these off-road companies started reaching out to me. So I started racing. I did the Mint 400. I do short course racing now. I'm doing the California 300. I'm signing a deal with Polaris. So that L turns into that, you know? So I think the young culture, they don't understand that stuff. They don't understand that.
It's about the journey.
Well, you got to fucking fail like a lot to succeed. You really do.
Right.
You know?
Well, it just means your feet are moving. That's the biggest part. Keep your fucking feet moving. Yeah. Whichever direction that you're going, and you're, like you said, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to do this kind of stuff, but as long as you're moving.
Yeah. You know, to be honest, I, for one, enjoyed the footage. I mean, you did a nice job scrambling.
I wouldn't call it a flip. I'd call it a roll.
Yeah, it was like a soft roll. But it looked like, I feel like you applied probably some UFC, some fucking jiu-jitsu maneuvers in there, getting out of that. You were limber.
It was harder than getting knocked out?
The funny thing about that is the side airbag came out and gave me a flash knockout. So I didn't know I was concussed. I got out. And then I was just staring out into the desert, and my producer was like, "You all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine, man." Like my arm was kind of messed up. I'm like, "I'm fine." And I just kept staring out into the desert. He's like, "Oh, dude, you're concussed." I'm like, "No." And then I've been knocked out by some of the best to ever do it, and nothing messed me up more than that side airbag.
No shit.
Dude, that's what warriors like us do, man. We just roll it off. Like, I remember being in Louisville, man. I took one like a fucking champ, and it's not a big deal. Fucking, that was a six roll.
That was a
6 revolutions.
That was a concussion on a Lime scooter. Not, I wouldn't, dude, I wouldn't brag about that. That's not.
Yeah. I guarantee we were going 20 to 25 miles an hour, and I had no gear on, and it was helmet. I mean, my head off no helmet, head off the concrete, and got right back up. We went to dinner.
You slowly got back up, and you weren't present at dinner. You were there.
I went to dinner. I don't remember dinner.
That's great. You was there, yeah. But I even with the TRX, like I viewed that as like, all right, what are we gonna do next? So then, you know, I through insurance, everything, thank God it was covered. Then I was like, all right, wrecked this one, completely totaled it. We got to do better. So then the TRX I'm building now is like what I had before, but on steroids, like completely different animal, doesn't even look the same, completely different beast. It works out.
You doing all Kibby Tech stuff on there?
Yeah, so it has all the Kibby Tech on there, Magasin 2650 blowers on there. I had Fiberworks crate. So they haven't done it before. I think they're going to offer them after this, but mine was the prototype. It has carbon fiber front and rear fenders, so it's 4 inches wider. We did spacers on the tires, has 38s on there.
Damn.
And then it's actually going to Bailey's in Fort Worth, Texas at the end of it leaves May 26th. So to be there at probably, early June 1st. And then he's rebuilt it. He rebuilt the motor, everything, transmission, everything. So we should be around, 1,250 horsepower once Chris at Bailey's gets done with it.
Damn. That'll be a fun daily.
We're gonna have to bring Brendan along if we do the Legends Road Tour later on in the summer.
Fuck yeah!
We build these Legends trucks. They're vintage square body trucks, but they're all on our chassis. It's all like modern GM platform. So look like an old truck, drive like a brand new truck, and we're gonna take about 10 or 12 of them and do a little road tour at a location TBD at this moment. But
say less, fella, I'm there.
We'd love to have you out.
OBS, like OBS, old school, but
yeah, OBS Chevy trucks, yeah, like 73 to 80.
And then you put like updated like LS engines in them.
Yeah,
LS1.
They got LT4s in them.
Yeah, they're supercharged,
supercharged
650 horse. Used to be a lot until the goddamn Hellcat stuff just kind of overshadows them.
They're fucking rowdy. They're rowdy. That they also you can drive it like a grandma too.
Love it. Absolutely love it.
Probably try to flip one, get some views.
We can
turn into a marketing experience.
I can do that, dude. I can do that for you. I'm pretty good at that.
No side airbags.
Yeah, they don't have that side curtain airbag.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
Even better. Even better.
All right, we're going to go to some rapid fire questions at this point in time. If you could go back to your prime fighting day, week, month, whatever, the prime of your career, and pick anybody of current date to fight, who would it be?
Oh, good question. I'd fight Francis Ngannou. I think I could out wrestle him and submit him.
Ooh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's quite a statement. I think you could do it. Man.
He's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a big boy. That's a big boy.
I was still blown away when you knocked out Crow Cop back in the day. That was like cool. Just devastating. Fuck, I was a huge Mirko fan and just watch him like crumble and all ball up on the ground.
Well, he was like Ivan Drago. That was reminding me of Ivan Drago. Too, man.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna go first car, right? So we've got a question. We've been doing this for a long time. For the first season, we asked the guest, what was the first car, your first car, and a story about that car, right? And we'd let them tell a story. And then as it progressed, we've got a unique skill. We're probably, I'd say we're 40 to 50%, right?
I don't know if that's a skill. I think that's just a 50-50 guess at that point.
Okay, so we do a thing. Sometimes we're right. Half the time we're fucking right.
We work hard at it.
All right. Yeah, we work real hard at guessing. So before you say, we're going to get... what year did you turn 16?
Let's see. I graduated in 2001. So how old are you when you graduate high school?
Oh, so
17, 18. You're same age as
98.
me.
Yeah.
Probably like 98, 99.
99. I'm going with 93, 94 Acura Legend. And I'm locking it in. Acura Legend. I'm locking it in.
Where you grew up in Denver? Colorado?
in Denver,
I wanted
Colorado.
to say
Yep.
Ford Ranger, but
He's too big for a Ranger.
he's too
Shit.
big for a Ranger. But Acura Legend with that seat drop down, late 90s. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, dude, I don't know. I know he's not a
How
Ford.
dare you think I'd drive an import? But keep going.
I know he's not a Ford guy, but I've got a vision of like the first new body style, the Mustang, when they moved from the Fox body. It was like early 90s.
Oh, SN95.
Yeah. A little fucking worn out, probably V6, but he wanted some more power. So it had like dual exhaust or something.
He's a big motherfucker. He's a V6 Mustang.
He's fucking 16,
he's
dude.
gonna whoop your
You're
fucking-
16.
when he's-
With all due respect.
You're coming to SEMA just because I want to see what happens.
That's what.
So I don't want to give it away, but my brother had that car in a V6.
All right, fucking close. It's in the family.
All right.
It's in the family.
Who do you got?
Saying you customized everything. I think I'm going to go IROC Camaro.
That was
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I wish.
Is that just, are you Italian? You look Italian.
No,
No?
I'm white as shit, man.
Oh. I thought that's why
Yeah,
you were
no,
going.
my first car was a 97 or 98 F-150 flare side.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
All right. Hey, you win some, you lose some.
Hey.
That's the,
Dude, you
other
got to
half
just
of our
persevere.
50-50
You got to
shot.
get up,
Yeah.
take another shot at it next time.
Yeah, just take it as a
Guys
knockout.
were kind of close with it because you were going to go Ranger. Which
I was gonna
is
go
kinda
Ranger.
big.
Shit.
And then at least you were Ford, And it's not that I'm not a big Ford guy. There's some stuff that I love Ford does. When it comes to trucks, I just prefer the TRX. But that Raptor R is sweet. And what Farley's doing with the V8s, the GTD Mustang, the Super Snakes, I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
I just, for some reason, maybe I'm projecting, but I just saw a little bit of a little thug Brendan, right? Back in the early 90s. I saw the legend.
Okay,
and
you're seeing K Swisses.
I saw Kate Swisses and some frayed, and I saw a little 311 bumping. And that was kind of where I was going.
Yeah, all right, I can see that. All right.
I see it. I understand your thought process.
Yeah,
now.
it's what hit me. Did you wreck that F-150?
I did.
Of course.
Every successful person that's been on this podcast has wrecked the shit out of their first car.
Yep, I wrecked that. And what's funny about that, it had the 5.4 liter, the Triton.
The Triton.
Yep, same thing that's in my Lightning right now. I took it for an oil change at Grease Monkey. Took it for an oil change, and I left, came back, driving down the road, and just the engine started freaking out. Well, these young kids were changing the oil, and they went on lunch break and came back and didn't realize they didn't put oil in the engine.
Oh,
And it blew the engine. Ford cut, they had to pay for it somehow, got a completely brand new engine, which I was stoked about. And then I had it for maybe a month or two, and it was raining really hard in Denver, Colorado in the tech center. And I was driving, going like 50 miles an hour, and I floored it at a green light like a 16, 17-year-old does. And it started to fishtail out from me. And then it spun around and wrapped around a tree.
Shit.
so that's where the Lightning came from. Are you reliving? You're reliving childhood cars.
Basically, I
every
can
guy
afford
does.
one.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford one of those, and it was just like the thing to get when I was in high school. And I've always liked them. Me and my brother love them. My brother's a bigger gearhead than me, and I just always wanted one, man. Always wanted one. I love it. One of my favorite trucks to drive.
I've been wanting the OBS Lightning for years, ever since I was a kid. Last year was real fucking close. Me and Casey almost had a little trade going on.
The red one?
Yeah, no, the white one. Yeah, we almost had a little trade.
My plan was a Generation 1 Lightning. I was like, as much as I love the Generation 2s, because in high school, the Generation 1, those OBSs, I absolutely love. The square body, I absolutely love them in black, red, white. Love them. And I found one, sent to my brother. He's like, that's fun. Let's do a swap, engine swap, maybe put a 5.0 Coyote in it or Godzilla or something. Let's have some fun with it. So that was the plan. And I found one in Texas online. These pictures are like, holy shit. It said only 30,000 miles. I'm like, this is insane. The price was right. And my brother went out there to inspect it for me. He's like, dude, they just spray painted. Like, it's horrible in person. He's like, it's all rusted out on the bottom. He's like, there's no way it has 30,000 miles. So we didn't get that one. They ended up finding a Generation 2 one in Arizona. The guy who's on Deadliest Catch, I don't watch the show. There's an older guy on there, and he bought it. And he basically went to Pep Boys or one of those stores like that and was like, what accessories do you have for a Ford Lightning?
I'll take all of them.
Dude, there's just chrome all over the place. It was like a disaster. But he didn't mod it, and it only had 22,000 miles on it. And that's what I wanted.
Shit.
So me and my son flew out to Phoenix, and I drove it back. But he left out the small fact that, or whoever sold it, not him, whoever was selling it, it's not his fault, left out the fact that the fuel pump was bad. So I've never driven a Lightning. And I was telling my son how, in 2004, from 99 to 2004, this is the fastest production truck ever made. This thing's badass. My son's used to, Dodge Demons and TRXs.
Actual
so how fast it is.
This is like 212 horsepower. Yeah.
Dude, we jump in this thing. And even I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, I guess 20 years ago, real big difference. But there was a fuel pump issue. So the car can't go over 50. It was just sucking fuel. I put on the dyno. It did 114. It was a disaster.
Nice.
Dude, it's like
it's fixed now. It's all fixed now.
Major heroes.
It's like coming off a Xbox today back to Atari. Those things were fast.
Even Super Nintendo. Go back to Super Nintendo today.
Solid.
And back then, Super Nintendo was the shit.
Have you seen the new?
Popping off on my son. I was popping off on my son because I was hyping it up, and we're driving back from Arizona to LA. He'd be like, "Dad, this thing sucks." I'm like, "I know it sucks."
There's something wrong with it. Yeah, you don't even know old cars.
How old is your
You don't know
son?
shit. You don't even have a car.
How old's your kid?
He's 8. Just turned 8.
That's a good age.
Have you seen the new short beds that single cab short bed that Ford's doing now with the Coyotes with a Whipple on them?
Whipple,
That's a fucking
dude,
ripper.
750 horse.
750 horsepower, and they're all-wheel drive too. That's the modern-day Lightning, basically. I'd love to get one. And
they're like $43,000.
That dealer down in Alabama's doing them.
Under warranty too, bro. It's not just steel. And these bitches want to get Tesla 3s. The Model 3.
Right.
Are you out of your goddamn mind? It makes no sense, man. You can go get that thing.
Yeah.
47 grand, man, out the door.
You fuck a Tesla 3. When your kid turns 16, dude, that's what you should be getting him. Regardless if they're a furry or got colored hair, liberals, whatever.
They'll make a man out of them.
Yeah.
I think you phrased it wrong. You said fuck a Tesla 3. I think it's you're getting fucked in a Tesla 3. I think that's how it works. You're not getting fucked in a fucking Ranger. You're not getting fucked in a new.
No, I think a Ranger. There's a lot of
Rangers.
There's that dude that does all the spoof shit about the Ranger. It's a little gay.
Ranger is?
Yeah.
No.
Watch it. Google it.
Splash?
Yeah, just fucking Google it.
What?
Google it. It's not an F-150, dude. It's a fucking Ranger.
Splash, right?
It's a Ranger.
Oh, fuck.
Splash.
Remember the Splash Ranger?
Yeah, I remember the Splash.
It's fucking,
Name one fucking cool dude that drove a Splash.
That's a good point, man. They sound pretty gay as we're talking about it.
Right?
my buddy, Jeremy Johnson.
And what's he doing today? Who's he
He
married?
owns a wildly successful HVAC company in the Gulf Coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's all my buddy JJ. What's he do today? He's a Hell's Angel.
He's fucking whipping motherfuckers' asses.
Him and his husband,
The splash was fucking cool. Remember the night? Remember the same OBS Lightning we were talking about? They had the night version. It was black and it had night written
in blue, right?
Yeah, and the blue pink 80s writing on the thing. And they had fucking cars were cool back then.
Yeah.
Cars are cool. You remember the Shack Edition Expedition?
Yeah.
Remember the Shack Edition? Wild, dude.
Yeah. Oh, what an interesting time for cars. The special editions. I think there was some fucking Michael Jordan Envoy, wasn't there?
What?
There was some basketball edition Envoy. It might have been a dealer special because Chicago, but
The Envoy, the
little one.
The Blazer.
But it was Space Jam. Wasn't it Space
it might
Jam
have been,
edition?
I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah, we'll look it up when we don't have a
Yeah,
Jamie.
they don't do those
so.
anymore. I can't think of anyone getting their own cars these days.
No, there was the Kate Spade Cadillac. The pink,
Mary Kay.
One, yeah.
Mary Kay, the makeup company.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, that's
Oh,
still
there's
a thing.
John Varvatos Chrysler 300.
Really?
Yeah.
The Varvatos edition.
That was a couple years
Classy.
If so, you're reliving childhood cars. Do you have a list of stuff you're gonna do on Toontown?
As far as the list, no, I mean, I think the biggest thing, like the thing we're working on now is we're doing those kind of giveaway trucks. So I'm in the middle of the project we're working on now is we took a Raptor and made it an extended cab. So it's no longer 4 doors. And we swapped in the Coyote 5.0 motor into that thing, brand new motor. And we just signed a deal with Roush. So Roush sent the supercharger. So this thing's gonna be pretty badass. We're building it all up. I got Kibby Tech on board, building the bumpers, the shocks. We got King shocks on there. We have a bunch of cool stuff.
So how does somebody win this fucking thing?
They'll win it, but you can either win it for free just by entering, or you get as they say, like points or redeem your points through merch. So we'll have a whole merch line. So
where do you go? Where do you go to do this?
It'll be on the website, drivefastallgas.com. So we're building all that now. We're waiting for the truck to get done, and then we'll release the merch. It'll be 60 days. And for me, it's like with my cars or whoever's cars, like the project, what I realize is what I'm passionate about. Like, and when the project ends, whether, my TRX is done or the Ford Lightning gets done, not that you're ever done, but for the most part, the major kind of changes, I always find myself getting sad or depressed. So I came up with the idea of these giveaways where I'll just keep the projects rolling, and then I give it away and I'll start a new project, give it away. So that's what I love to do.
Hell yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part.
Next question. The best piece of advice that you ever received?
Oh, good question. Well, the only one that comes to mind was my dad when I was, I think my first game at CU. He could tell I was in my head, and he told me the acronym, keep it simple, stupid. So KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So he was like, don't overthink. It's just football. You've been playing since you were a child. Like, don't make it this big thing, this complicated thing. Keep it simple, stupid. I was like, all right, don't call me stupid, but I'll see what I do.
My dad told me the same thing, but it took me like a year to figure it out what he meant.
Yeah, my dad too. He just left. My dad just left off the front part. It was just stupid.
Stupid. Yeah. All right, we got 2 more left. This is a new one that we've been doing. So you can craft this one how you see fit. What is your favorite law enforcement interaction story?
Oh, I love this. So my father-in-law was a cop for 30 years.
It's fucking quick.
He's a cop for 30 years. I mean, I have a story about him that's hilarious, why he retired. But then my favorite interaction, though, is I had this is years ago, I had a GD2 RS modified, had about 900 something horsepower, was loud, illegal, especially in North Korea, aka LA. Super illegal. Dude, super fucking illegal. I should not have been driving this thing. Roll cage in it. I drove the piss out of this goddamn. I mean, I drove this thing like I was on fucking Gran Turismo or GTA. I did shit I should not have been doing in this car all over LA. And I was flying to get to my studio, and a cop pulled me over. In my head, I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. Like he heard the exhaust, like they're gonna impound my goddamn car. I'm screwed. And he comes out, and he wasn't that young of a guy. He comes out, and I was like, oh, here's my license registration. And he takes it. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm so screwed. And he goes, damn, it's a GT2 RS. I'm like, it is. And he's like, dude, there's no way that exhaust is stock. I'm like, no, it's definitely not. I switched out, dude. He's like, pop that thing for him. Let me see what's inside. I was like, hell yeah, dude, check it out. I'm like, showing him. He's like, I get it, man. Have a good day. I was like, oh, hell no. They're normal people. Yeah. I was so lucky he was a car guy, and he appreciated like that I was doing this to a GT2 RS.
That's a good one. Every once in a while, you get lucky.
You do get lucky. Sometimes you don't get so lucky. But
sometimes you're on the other end of that.
Yeah, they can also hate those same cars to the same level of passion.
100%. It can go both ways. Like I said, my father-in-law was a cop for 30 years. He retired probably 3 years ago, like during the whole, defund the cops, all that stuff. Yeah. I'm out. It's too dangerous. But one of the reasons he retired, I give him shit to this day. This story does not end well. It's got, it's a rough story, but there's some funny in it, I guess, if you have dark humor, whatever. So So he was working some highway patrol, and there was a broke down Lincoln Navigator on the side of the 101 up here, right by me. Busy highway. It was the morning, and he pulls over and he sees it's like a young lady, and he's like, I'm gonna help her. He's like, your Lincoln Navigator broke down. I'm gonna help her out. And so he goes up and she starts like cussing at him. He's like, okay, this is weird. And he goes, well, I'm going to get a tow truck for you, and they'll tow you wherever you want to go, and then you don't have to worry about it, but you don't want to stay on the side of the highway. And just so for people out there, any police officer, CHP will tell you, when you have an accident or whatever it is, your car breaks down, don't stay on the side of the highway. It's the most dangerous place you can be. Leave the car there and walk up to the next exit. Get the fuck off the highway. It's so dangerous. So she's hanging there. He calls the tow truck. The tow truck comes, and she's cussing out the tow truck driver. And he's like, whoa, I'm literally just trying to, you tell me where you want to go, we'll take you. If it's a shop, we'll take care of it. And she's getting super violent with him, yelling, cussing. And the tow truck driver gets out of his tow truck and tells my father-in-law, he goes, hey man, something's wrong with this lady. Like, you've never seen somebody so upset that I'm towing their car. Can you just follow us to the shop? And he's like, yeah, sure. As they're talking, she gets out of her vehicle, jumps into the tow truck, and drives off. Wow. She decides to steal the tow truck. My father-in-law is like, oh, hell no. He decides to be Captain America. He jumps into the tow, runs up to it, catches up to it like Captain America at 60, whatever he is, jumps into the truck and starts trying to wrestle the keys from the lady. Starts wrestling the keys from the lady. He didn't know it at the time, but she was on meth. I don't know if you've ever fought anybody on meth, but they're
super
fucking
strong.
Yeah, if the Avengers were on meth, there'd be no problem. So she's beating the shit out of him. She's this tiny little girl. She's just whooping his ass. Like, his eyes were all fucked up, head's all scratched. Anyways, he gets the keys from her, and she goes, say less, I'm on meth. I'm invisible. I'm going to run across the highway. So
she's
she
not
decides
invisible, right?
It turns out meth doesn't make you invisible, because she got by 3 lanes, and then that carpool lane was like, probably a Ford Ranger Splash. Went, hey,
and then went
don't
splash.
fuck up my splash, lady. And he decided to splash her all over his windshield at 80 miles an hour. Yeah, she passed away. But the story, the moral of the story is, don't do meth. Yeah. And then also, he retired that day. Literally that next day, he's like, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, that'd be a tough one to witness. I mean, a Lincoln Navigator, assuming that's like early 2000s, I'd stay the fuck away from it regardless.
I guarantee the airbags weren't working in the back. Yeah. I guarantee it was doing fucking shady.
That might be one of the shadiest vehicles ever built. You see one, you're like, somebody's doing something illegal in or around it.
No, the person driving is probably just driving, but inside that vehicle, there's something that's breaking a law.
Yeah,
somewhere. You talked about the meth thing. What do you think? What if Dana allowed just a little bit of meth like right before a fight?
Just a skosh of it.
I think
if they could regulate it.
No, I think they allow meth in the slap fight league. I think they allow the slap.
It's probably a requirement.
Dude, that could be a whole new thing. I mean, like bare knuckle boxing, slapping. Who would have thought those things would exist?
If you could figure out a way to make sure that the fighters didn't get addicted, and it was just like smelling salts, they could just do I don't know what the measurements of meth is.
Like
you could do
I think it's
a skosh.
A dollop.
If you could do a skosh of meth right before.
A dollop of meth. The problem is, I think it's highly addictive. That's the issue.
Yeah, I didn't think it all the way through.
Hey, we'll put our heads together on it.
I've got
brainstorm.
So this one's on a personal note. I'm going a little bit off the script here. So my son is 17. He'll be 18 in a few months. He's preparing. When he turns 18 in Illinois, you can have your first, fight. So he's been doing BJJ and MMA for a while. He just won his first no-gi BJJ tournament about 2 months ago. He has decided about 2 years ago that he is going to pursue this as a career. He wants to be a MMA fighter. I'm asking you for advice to tell him, and acceptable of choose another career. I'm fine with that too. So whatever you would like to.
No, my advice wouldn't be choose another career, because I mean, the chances of him becoming a Conor McGregor, not good. But my thing with any of that, and I tell my kids the same thing, I don't give a shit what they want to do. If they want to fight, okay, go ahead. But I've been somewhat successful. Like fighters don't grow up in Calabasas, California. Fighting comes from the gutters. Like you have to have no options. I decided to start fighting because I kind of had no options. So things might be a little different now with with social media and kids see fighting more now, especially MMA and the UFC, and they're starting to make better money. But I know who you guys are. Like you're a successful dude in this space, so I'm sure he's not worried about where his next meal comes from. So you got to realize that he's going to be competing once he's at a certain level. You're fighting against kids that have no other options, and it's fucking dangerous when you have other options. That said, there's some guys who make it, and their families were just blue collar and they weren't broke and stuff like that. There's a lot of kids who can make it like that. But even I'd say go for it. But my thing is, if you're gonna go for it, fucking go for it, dude. Fucking go for it. Act like you don't have a famous dad in the car business. Fucking go for it. Don't depend on your dad. And if you're gonna go for it, because that's gonna teach him lessons. Again, if he ends up as Conor McGregor, fuck yeah, we made it. We're going Sizzler. We're buying all the cars we want. Dad can retire. Hopefully he becomes Conor McGregor. Odds are he doesn't, but the life lessons he's learned, there's no better lessons than fighting, is that, he'll be able to take that work ethic and apply it to whatever else he wants to do. So my thing is do it. Hell yeah, go for it. In my head, because I've been, I've played professional football. I've played, or fought professional. Like I know what it takes and the odds are to get there. Chances are he's not going to make it. All good. Hopefully he learns from that and can use that in other life lessons. But I don't care what my kids do. I don't care as long as you fucking give it your best shot. You half-ass it, I'm out, man. You don't have my support.
I'm with you 1,000%. I don't care whatever decision he wants to make. We've had this very similar discussion. It's funny you mentioned Conor because, and I don't know why. I'd love to ask you why like kids of that age, like Conor McGregor is a fucking idol to them. And that's Conor McGregor is his favorite fighter, has been so since he was 12 years old, right? And he loves.
I'll stop you there. The reason why even I referenced Conor. And he wasn't fighting when I was fighting. He came on after me. He might have had maybe 1 or 2 fights, but right before I retired. Either way, the reason everyone says Conor McGregor is because he's made more money than everybody. Like he's the pinnacle. He's the wins or losses. I don't give a shit about any of that. But as far as getting set up for life, like other professional athletes, he's the only one who's ever done it fighting. So that's why he's the pinnacle.
Right. That makes a good point. But I've referenced him like, dude, your idol, the thing you're talking about, you don't realize how, and I don't know Conor personally, contrary to popular belief. I don't know it, but the story is how hungry he actually was hungry, physically hungry from a financial standpoint, what he had to do. And I've tried to explain to my son, I'm like, you got to understand, like, You've got an iPhone, you're going to a nice school. You've got a roof over your head. You're driving a slammed Audi with 20-inch wheels on it, and you got Joe Rogan sending you birthday gifts of Roots of Fight shit. So I doubt that you're the same hunger level as Conor McGregor was. Kind of coming up in the streets. So you've got to figure out to tap into that.
He's got the ego for it.
He needs to figure out because again, like everyone wants to say. Like me and Mike Tyson were doing an interview and I said, yeah, fighting comes from the streets. And he goes, I'm going to stop you. It comes from the gutters. I said, all right, that's fair. Now, to say that all fighters come from that background isn't fair. That's like saying all comics have to have a fucked up childhood. That's not fair. I had great parents. So some of that is, it's not that your son has to grow up broke or be desperate. That doesn't work for me because now it's a real professional, avenue. It's not like back in the day where it was only on Indian reservations and it's kind of this taboo thing. It's on fucking Disney Channel. It's on ESPN. So it's a massive, massive market. So you're going to get all kind of, tax bracket fighters in there. Yeah. So with your son, and I think it does such a disservice for fighting. Like Kenny Florian, and I have 2 majors from University of Colorado. Like I was an educated person. Kenny Florian, I think, has a master's. Like there's some really smart fucking dudes that decide to fight. For your son, I don't need you to grow up on the streets and be starving and your dad used to beat you. I need this sad story like Sean Strickland. No. He's the outlier. He needs to find his reason, whether it's he doesn't want to be under the shadow of his father. His father's success, he wants to go the exact opposite. So that gives him the fuel to wake the fuck up at 5 a.m. and run, while that same kid in Brooklyn, New York, that's dead broke is running for a different reason. As long as he finds his reason, I don't give a fuck if you're Elon Musk's son. You can do it, but you got to find your reason. You got to find that fire. That fire has to come from somewhere, whether it's being grown up dead broke or an abusive father, or you don't want, your famous dad in the car business overshadowing you. I don't give a fuck what it is. As long as you find it, that's the rocket fuel you need to get to where you need to go.
Fuck yeah. Dude, I love that.
It's fucking amazing.
I'm getting fucking charged up over here.
Me too. Dude,
I fucking love it.
No fucking bullshit. This has been absolutely fucking amazing. We're going to have to do, first of all, you're going to SEMA and you're coming to the fucking party. We're going to figure out a way to work together somehow. Number two, we got to figure out a way to get this on like a regular basis. You've got to fucking come on here because the similarities are so fucking great. Like you're talking about finding your reason. I want to tell that to all the fucking car builders out there too. You've got to find the thing that's going to keep you for pushing that. We've talked about, all the time about, there's sometimes the customer's going to run out of money, but you can't stop working. You've got to build that business card. You got to get out there. Find that reason of what's going to fucking push you. I fucking love it. Absolutely love it.
Great shit.
You got to find that rocket fuel. And for me at CU, it was, in high school, I was the guy that, he can't go D1. He doesn't run a 4.40. So I was like, all right, watch this. So that gave me the fuel to, by any means necessary, to make a Division I team. And then when I was on there, I was just a walk-on. Nope. And then, that gave me the fuel to earn the scholarship and, lead the team on special teams and all that stuff and starting some games, all that stuff.
What'd you play in high school? Tight end?
Tight end. Yeah. And then I got to see you. I was like H-back, fullback, tight end. But then with the UFC, the fuel from that came from, again, I love Dana White. Me and him align on everything. I have zero issues with him. Couldn't be a bigger fan. I cheer that guy on at any moment I can. But when I was fighting, when he signed that Reebok deal, I was one of the few fighters who made more in endorsements than I did actually fighting at the time. So when he signed that deal, it royally fucked me over. I took it personal. So people say, oh, he had a chip on his shoulder. Bitch, I had a fucking thing of Pringles on my shoulders. But that whole month of chips. I should be paying Dana White 10% of my income right now because he gave me that fuel to be so upset to create this rocket fuel that I needed to go into podcasting and stand up. So cool. I give him the credit. So again, I was fine financially at the time, but you no matter what you're doing, even if you're financially set, you got to find that rocket fuel. Even if you artificially create it in your head, you got to find something that's going to come from.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome, dude.
I know you fucking, I get it. Your love for Dana. I 100% get it. But first of all, Dana's not listening to this, right? So you can talk as much shit about Dana as you want to. So the next,
it's funny because, me and him had our issues in the past. But I literally have no issues with the guy. Me and him align damn near on everything.
Dude, I loved you eating crow on the UFC 300 thing. I think that was fucking awesome because it did turn out to be a fucking amazing night. I want to know, current modern era, who's the most overhyped fighter right now? Patty or Sugar Sean? I'm a Sugar Sean fan, but
Sugar's a badass, and Sugar worked out because he's a world champion. So Sugar's not going to work in that statement, right? Because before that was the narrative on him.
They kept saying it fight after fight after fight, though.
Yeah, they were like, he's the next guy. It turns out he fucking is. Yeah. He's world champion. Yeah. He beat Aljo, starched him, and he'll fight Marab next. But Sugar's that guy. He is who we thought he is. As far as overhyped, it's tough because we don't know. So with Patty, I love Patty. I don't know if you. Have you guys had fighters on? But have you had would you reach out to Pat or anything? Have a mind?
I'd fucking love to have Patty on because from a message standpoint and as far as from the outside looking in, I don't know him. From the outside looking in, as far as a person standpoint, I don't think you could get fucking better. Like he seems fucking legit.
So Patty's one of these guys where if you don't know him, you've never been around him, you look at him like, not that you guys are saying this, but a lot of the audience will go, I don't get it. He doesn't seem that good. But when you're with him in person, there's certain guys have that it factor. Patty has that. Patty checks every fucking box. he has this electricity that certain celebrities will have, or very rare, certain fighters will have. Connor has it. Patty has it. Yeah. Patty will steal the fucking room just by being himself, and he's so lovable. The guy is so special. Now, are his skill sets, the same as a Max Holloway or Justin Gaethje or Makhachev at 55? No, not right now, but we don't need that right now. But you guys got, the audience, you got to give him time to develop because he's a badass. But again, his fame surpasses his skill level right now. But again, it was the same thing with Sugar. His skill, his stardom was up here and his skill level was right here. But over time, it met those requirements. Patty's the same way. Patty walks into the room, even his haters will absolutely love him. The kid's fucking special, man.
That's saying a lot.
He knows this.
That's saying a lot, especially from him, because I don't know. You've been kind of a fourth or fifth or sixth skill set career, a little bit of a talent scout. I mean, you picked out Theo Vaughn before he was fucking anything, and you said he was going to be fucking something. That when you talk about that electricity and that thing,
yes, that's the guy that's got it. You just look at him, you're like,
you can pick the it thing, right?
Unique about this dude.
I wish I could take credit for Theo. I think fucking, Ray Charles could listen to Theo and realize, how talented he is. So when I met Theo, I'm around funny people all the time. When stand up, podcasting, there's not a organically funnier person on this fucking planet, I will argue with anybody, than Theo Vaughn. You got to lunch with him. He'll say shit that will blow your mind. His mind is just different.
Even over Bobby Lee?
Not even close.
I'm just kidding. I won't even go there.
Dude,
Theo is
just like stoking that fire.
There's not a bigger freak than Theo Vaughn as far as comedy wise.
I'm from the South, so I relate to a lot of his
like
humor with that.
Foxworthy kind
of yeah. I mean, the Theo Vaughn, there's just things in the way he says things. It relates to me from the way I grew up. That's the way we fucking talked and said shit. So
the comedy stuff's interesting. I was just listening this morning. I'm at the gym. I'm listening to Rogan and Sebastian Maniscalco. Is that his name? And he's a funny guy, right? But it was like he's not naturally like a funny guy. It didn't seem like the conversation was like
Sebastian or Rogan.
Sebastian. It felt like it's kind of like more like Theo's just a funny fucking dude. Like it seems like just anything that comes out of his mouth will be funny. Sebastian, I feel like he's more like a performer,
And there's nothing wrong with it,
right? It's just different. It's different.
Yeah, it's different of just being funny in conversation, or I'm gonna go and be funny,
right?
Yeah, Theo can't help it. It's just the way he's wired. His upbringing is different than anybody else's. So for Theo, it's just like that's the way he's wired. He does it, even if he was trying not to be funny, it's impossible for him. Where Sebastian, he's had to work his ass off. You're talking about a guy who started as a door guy at the Comedy Store, and Mitzi told him he won't ever have a career in comedy. And he goes, really? And then he just worked his ass off, and he built the tools to become one of the biggest comedians in the world. So Theo's different, where he's that guy that has, from day one, from the jump since he was 4 years old, has been funny. And then you mix that in with an audience and he gets, attention. Good luck, man. He's just that, he's that freak who has talent and a work ethic. Theo's that freak.
Since it was brought up, I got to ask you, I know you've got a very special, close relationship with Rogan.
Yes.
And he's been famously, he's been on this podcast and obviously on his podcast talked about don't read the comments, and there's a case that could be made both ways, right? I see his point. I don't know if I totally believe if he ever reads comments, but I get it. And, there's also a case to be made that you can read some of the comments and maybe change your craft if there is some things that you're doing good. Our question is there a fucking harder worker than Joe Rogan in this fucking world? That motherfucker
he works,
turns the fucking hours. It's fucking nuts between the podcast and the Comedy Store and stuff like that. And the way, I know he's probably got a little help with things, but fucking A, that man fucking works. And then this is not to be on the Joe Rogan dick train, but I'm just saying he fucking works his ass off.
Yeah, but I think because I'm around it, I'm not. It's just what he does. It's what all of us do. It's like
I couldn't do that shit at that fucking age, though. I mean, you're talking about getting up at fucking 6 o'clock in the morning working out, and then you stay until 3 o'clock in the morning at the fucking comedy club.
We've had a fucking career of 20 plus years of working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. So
that's tough.
All right.
I think when it comes to work ethic thing, again, like everyone brings that up about Joe, or with me, Joe will tell you, he has a professional athlete's work ethic, like all that. Like I don't subscribe to. It's again, I don't think it's impressive. I assume that with Joe, you know. So people talk about his work ethic all the time.
If you take,
my dad works his ass off. There's just not 50 million people watching.
It's funny that I expect. Those that do it take it for granted, like you're saying, and you look at the other guy, like,
someone else is better.
Shit. If you take kicks out of the equation, and you and Joe in the ring, who wins?
Again, another question I get. So
you got that question before?
Of course,
are
all
those
the time.
Those kicks are legendary, or what?
Joe's fucking kicks are stupid.
Here's the thing about all this. Love Joe like a brother. I was ranked top 10 in the world in the UFC. Joe never competed in the UFC. So you can have kicks. I fought Gabriel Gonzaga. I fought Mirko Krokop. Joe Rogan has never thrown a kick as a professional. So that would be like me asking how you would do against Joe doing stand-up. Does that make sense?
Yep. Okay. I get it.
You've never done stand-up. He's never fought professionally. So, I would assume I would fuck him up. And that's not not acting. It's like, okay, yeah, dude, you fought for a living. Joe didn't, like he did Taekwondo when he was a kid or, in his teenage years. Okay. And he kicks hard, no doubt. And it's super impressive, especially at his age. It's freakish, like no doubt. But, there's guys in the UFC who kick and they land those on professional fighters.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes 100% sense. I didn't know that you've gotten that question before. I thought I was being fucking creative. So thanks for making me feel like an asshole. That's going to be like the standard
question, though. Like if you're a fighter, who would you beat? Who could you beat?
But again, I get his point. Like the Joe Rogan thing, I thought was a little weird because he's not a pro fighter. So you wouldn't throw him into the mix. I just know that they have a special relationship. So I figured I wanted to ask it. I know
now Rogan versus anybody that doesn't have a professional fighting background. Like remember he's supposed to fight Wesley Snipes or insert any guy, insert The Rock, whoever the fuck you think's a badass in Hollywood.
Kicks the shit out of him.
Rogan beats the shit out of everybody. But when it comes to professional fighters, like that's tough. That's tough.
So what happens in the Tyson Paul fight?
See, I don't know because I don't know.
Is it real? Is it fucking legit?
That's why it's tough for me to critique the fight because, I'm going to go along with it. Jake Paul's my boy, but a lot of it is like, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's a little weird that it got sanctioned because Tyson's so much older and has so much more experience. So it gets a little dicey to even critique the fight because remember, Jake Paul's very first fight was on Tyson's card. So they're friends as well. So I don't know exactly what's going on there. I think it ends in a decision. I don't think anybody gets knocked out. No, like I don't think Tyson would sign up for that to get knocked out. I don't think it does Jake Paul any.
All right, here's the equal money. All right, you're getting paid $5 million, right? You got to jump in the ring. It's Jake Paul or Mike Tyson. Which one?
Just boxing?
Just boxing.
I'll take the 56-year-old Mike Tyson.
Really?
Really?
Oh, yeah, all day.
Maybe it's just maybe it could just be like the inexperience because we're not fighters and I'm just I'm a huge Mike Tyson fan. Like
I know Jake Paul got that fucking overhand right before. Yeah.
So you want
Mike Tyson's a badass.
In the back of your mind, you want him to still be Mike Tyson, but is that the reality?
And that's not real. Right. That's not real. I've worked with Mike a bunch. Like that's not real. So did you see when he fought Roy Jones?
Yeah, I know. I try to forget about that fight.
And so that was 4 years ago. So do you think Mike Tyson got better as he got older 4 years ago?
I thought he's trained hard. I think he has gotten better since the Roy Jones fight. But I think. But again, I'm fucking stupid. We build cars for a living.
No, but to be fair, like my co-host Brian Count thought the same thing. And like my question to him too was like, hold on, you think Mike Tyson into his late 50s is getting in better shape than he was at in his early 50s and his later 50s, and you think he's going to be quicker and hit harder?
Is he in better shape? I don't know. Has he worked harder for this fight than he worked for the other fight? 100%.
How do we know? How do you know that?
Well, I guess we don't know. But I just...
Instagram? This is my thing. Instagram?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
There you go. But again, this is why they're doing it.
Right.
I love all of it. I hope those guys make all the money in the world.
Right.
But those Instagram clips are set up to do exactly this. Oh, damn, Tyson looks like the old Tyson. Oh, really? That video's 10 seconds long.
To get the pay-per-view. Yeah. Well, this one's on fucking Netflix. Dude, this one's on Netflix.
Regardless, it's good fucking entertainment. I mean, I've been a huge Tyson fan my whole life. I can't wait to see it.
Oh, it's fucking awesome. I mean, it's brought boxing itself back into the mainstream. I mean, honestly, since fucking Tyson and Holyfield. That's the last time that boxing has gotten so fucking mainstream, really. And there's been, I mean, people that have been fans of it have been watching and stuff. But when you're talking about non-fighting fans, talking about, oh shit, we're gonna watch the Tyson fight. It's been fucking 20-something years since it's brought it back into the mainstream like that.
The Floyd did a good job. Like some of the Floyd fights were big, and then now you got Tyson Fury, who's a big name. You got Deontay Wilder.
Fuck Tyson Fury. I've been a Wilder fan for. I'm from Alabama, so we got similar circles in the Deontay fan, and so I've always been a Deontay fan. Even I watched him back in probably 2013, 14, 15. We were going to like outdoor like park arenas watching Deontay fight, and it was just this was straight at me. He was like still a Budweiser delivery guy, right? Yeah. And this is right after Olympics, and like, holy fucking shit. So I've always been a Deontay fan. Tyson, I can't take away his fucking, Tyson Fury, can't take away his fucking skill set. But man, he's just not exciting to watch fight. But that's just,
he's a beast.
He's a fucking beast.
Yeah, skill-wise, he's an absolute freak.
I don't understand how you can look so slow and move your head so fucking fast. Like,
he's been fighting since he was a kid. Just an absolute freak.
The fucking head movement. If you watch Tyson Fury's fights, the head movement,
that's fucking impressive.
And then what looks like a distance gauging like little jab is actually
putting guys down,
making damage. Like it's fucking.
He fights this Saturday against the #1 guy in Usyk.
What's your pick?
Tyson's my favorite fighter in all combat sports. So I think, Tyson gets it done, but I think he goes to a draw. It's super controversial because that's boxing. They do weird shit, but Tyson Usyk's a great fight. Nobody's talking about it, but it's the first unified heavyweight title fight in 25 years. Like it's a big deal, but it's not getting much coverage. It was before because they're supposed to fight earlier. Tyson got a cut, so he had to delay it, but he fights this Saturday.
Last question, and I know you got to go. We've reached our time limit. I'm going to phrase this correctly because I've learned enough about you in the last hour and a half to know that you're not afraid of any challenge. You're not scared. If you were to take a fight today at your best in your life shape, fighting ready, who's the person that you would be most hesitant to fight of current day fighters in MMA?
Probably either John Jones, right now that he's at heavyweight, either John Jones, he's just, he's what my ass before in training. So either John Jones or Tom Aspinall. I match up really terrible with Tom Aspinall. He was just damn near as athletic as I was. He's bigger. He's a black belt on the ground as well. He's really good boxing. So those guys now, especially Tom Aspinall, is like the new wave of those heavyweights. He's an absolute savage. So Tom Aspinall would be a problem. And then John Jones is a problem for everybody.
What do you think about Duplessis?
His fight against Strickland or the Whitaker one?
Yeah.
I mean, his fight against Strickland, I had Strickland win in that fight. I'm a big Strickland fan. I thought Strickland did it, but
I've always won money on Duplessis, so I stay betting on him every year.
Yeah, he's a savage, and he's kind of awkward, so guys can't figure out his style.
He's
but
different.
He's a savage. He's gonna fight Izzy next.
Oh, is he?
Is he?
That's the word.
Is he? Fuck, that'll be
nicely done.
That'll be fucking something.
Dude, I got to jump in. I got to fire one at you before we let you go. Because usually we got like diehard car guys on here and we ask them what's their favorite car movie and why. But I got to ask you, what's your favorite fighting movie? Are you like a blood sport guy? Like, is it a vintage fucking movie?
I mean, Bloodsport for sure, but like, I guess I should say this. Like, do you guys watch car movies?
Yes.
Years ago. I mean, like now, if something new comes out, you got to watch it.
I get what he's saying. He'd rather watch a fucking car movie than a fight movie because he's analyzing shit like we are.
Bullshit. Yeah.
We're going to be looking at
Yeah, because if you watch Gone in 60 Seconds now, you're like, Jesus Christ, man, what's happening here? Because you guys know the car business.
Yeah.
Like in the fight business, like when you watch insert whatever movie, you're like, oh my God, this is fake as shit. So I never gravitated towards the fight movies. Growing up, Bloodsport was my all-time favorite movie. Like Bloodsport, Big Trouble in Little China, even though it's not a fight movie, but those two, go hand in hand. I love both those. But as far as car movies go, the movie I wasn't planning on loving. I didn't want to see it. Didn't see it in the theaters. My son wanted to watch it. Was that Gran Turismo movie? Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys seen it based off of the story.
Yeah.
My son wanted to watch on the plane. We headed to Phoenix to do some short track racing, and he races too. And we watched on the plane. I was like, God, this is a damn good movie, man. Yeah. I'm glad I saw it. This is a damn good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie.
It was good. I know y'all are big JCVD fans.
Oh, huge! Yeah. I mean, we're the same age. We grew. That's the era. Right?
I've never been.
He went to He fucking fought at the Kumite.
Yeah. He's a little. I'm telling you what. He's a little
broken glass. Fucking glue.
You seem more like are you more of a Chuck Norris guy?
I'm a more Chuck Norris, but I'm also a Burt Reynolds. Like he ain't got to fight to be a badass. Nobody wants to pick a fight with fucking Burt.
We went through this the last time.
I'm just telling you, JCVD he's
all right. Let's let a fight.
He's great. He's great in the movies.
We're gonna put this to fucking rest. Now we're gonna let a fighter chime in.
JCVD could win a fight in any movie star.
Just take Sylvester Stallone in whatever. It could be Rambo, Cobra, Rocky.
You're going there,
and you put him up against fucking Burt Reynolds again in any character. Who wins? Seriously.
Here's my thing. I don't want to see either of them fight because neither one of them can fight worth a shit, right?
I'm talking about the character though. Forget about like the person. We're talking the character. I'm talking Rambo, fucking Marion Cobretti against.
I guarantee you, Burt gets out of it.
I mean, Rocky should beat the shit out of all of them, right? You
fucking
or Demolition Man.
Burt doesn't show up. He's back in the backstage. He's laying it down.
He's with Adrian.
But I think the only actor that actually has a background, like Chuck Norris, was a legit badass, like black belt in jiu-jitsu, did actual competitions. Like he's more decorated when it comes to like real fighting than Bruce Lee. Like Bruce Chuck Norris, legit badass.
What about Seagal?
Fuck Seagal.
Not a bad.
How many Emmys is the 2024 version of Roadhouse going to win?
I hope a bunch. I don't think many though.
I want to see Connor walk up there to accept the award.
What do you mean?
Best supporting actor?
Just watch him walk, and that's exactly how he'll walk up there. Hey, fucking Brendan, it's been an absolute fucking blast. We had no idea what to expect. It's been a fucking absolute blast.
Yeah, I had fun, man. We appreciate your time.
I appreciate it, man. I'll see you guys at SEMA.
Yeah, coming to SEMA, and you're coming to Chicago this year, or that was end of last year, right?
It was end of last year. Either way, you guys are in Chicago.
We're in Chicago.
I'm all over, man. We'll figure it out.
Next time you come to Chicago, you got to come see the shop, and we got to do this again in fucking person.
Hell yeah!
I'd love that.
Thanks, dude.
Cool.
Been a blast.
Appreciate it.
Later.
Easy, man.
All right, man.
See you, fellas.
Love his fucking advice, just his outlook on everything.
Holy shit.
Super cool. Super cool.
Still, I know they've said this 100 times. You never fucking know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I think a fighter in general, you know, it's an interesting story because that's a combat sport. You got to, and when we talk all the time, this thing's like, there's so much talk about perseverance, right? Mm-hmm. Fucking combat sport, dude. You
can't be good. Yeah.
You can't half-ass that.
No. When you get punched in the face, you better like come back with another something quick. Yeah. And fucking
that's cool.
That was really good.
Good fucking dude.
Big thanks again to Brendan Schaub. Remember, you can keep up with Brendan on Instagram at Brendan Schaub. Check out Toontown on YouTube. You can check out the TRX rolling and other big ass shit that he's building. We got whiskey review time.
Mm-hmm.
This one's from California.
It's a good thing Phil's shopping, otherwise we would be out of whiskey.
Phil's been
you guys
the
have
only
brought
one
shit to the table like the past 3 months.
You've been doing such a good job.
That's not a necessity.
Yeah, I got to get back out there and do a little shopping.
We need fucking Garfield's Liquor Emporium. Garfield's Beverage Warehouse and Liquor Emporium. Honestly, in 2024, has done a piss poor job.
I got a couple bottles on there. I just haven't brought them in because they're too good to share with you fuckers.
I think
that's for you. That's not for the podcast.
Regardless,
I have a feeling once we finally deliver Dave his Legend Blazer, that he'll start reciprocating more with.
Those are going to be for us,
quality
not for the podcast.
Quality bourbons. At any rate, Phil's keeping this thing afloat with his submissions week after week after week.
Redwood Empire
broke in the process.
Emerald Giant Rye Whiskey. Rye Whiskey, Sonoma County, California. 116 proof.
It's a heater.
It doesn't. But it doesn't drink like 116.
Yeah,
I don't think.
First 2 sips, I lit my chest on fire.
I think it's the rye. I don't think it's the proof.
I was skeptical out of the gate just because of the Cali thing.
Yeah, it's a big strike against it.
It could be
North Korea.
Who knows? Well, yeah. I mean, there could be methamphetamines in there. There could be a variety of things that have crossed.
Needles.
There's an old syringe in there.
Fentanyl. I mean,
this is from Northern California, not LA or San Francisco.
Like a bum's shoelaces.
I wonder what you could get. I wonder what you could get with a fentanyl infused whiskey.
Fucking dead. You could get dead.
It depends on how much you put in there.
I think it just takes a little bit.
Just a dash.
At any rate, I dove into that before we jumped on with Brendan, and just like you, that initial pull, it was rough. It was fucking hot as hell. So before the cameras started rolling, I did put a little splash of water in it, kind of a bitch move. Getting into the second pour, I started kind of getting acquainted to it. I'm not a big rye guy, but I did like it. It's I've got no gripes with it. I don't know that I would chase it, like to go purchase it for my own collection.
It's a rare one in the cask strength, so they do like regular ones that are always on the shelf, and then you always see it on like a lot of the whiskey review stuff or rare release.
This is a $300 bottle on the secondary.
Really?
Right now. Yeah.
I think that's a good example though of being a little unplugged and like naive. So if you didn't know that was sought after and that it was $300 on the secondary, which I do not, I'm looking at it as though it's just a bourbon. I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't personally buy it. Is where I'm going to leave it. It's pretty good. It's not bad. It's perfectly drinkable. It is hot. It's full of all the rye spices, and
you don't like it. You're not liking it because of the proof, because it is 94% rye.
Yeah,
the mash bill is 94% rye, 5% malted barley, 1% wheat.
Yeah,
so it's not the 116 proof that it's the fucking rye spice.
Yeah. So it's not for me, but
right.
That doesn't mean that.
But everybody's got
somebody else might love it.
Aged at least 4 years, so it's a bottled and bond, cask strength.
Doesn't bottled and bond have to be 100 proof?
No, at least 100 proof and at least 4 years. Okay. But it has to be one season, and that doesn't say it on here.
Yeah, it's California. They probably don't care about bottled and bond.
Hey, Josh, you'd like to give it a review.
Jeff Duckhorn, Master Distiller. Is that from Duckhorn
Wine?
Yeah.
Jeff Duckhorn sounds like a guy that would have a limited edition pair of pants at what's that? Duluth Trading. Like a nice pair of Duckhorn edition. Yeah, like a nice pair of double knee work pants. The Duckhorns. The Jeff Duckhorns.
Oh, you got those new Duckhorns?
Yeah, hell yeah.
It is.
It's a deep pull.
Sweat at me.
Doesn't drink like 116 proof. Drinks like a very flavorful rye. I quite liked it. It is a sipper. It's not a fucking drinker. It's not a weeder. It's not a 90 proofer. It's not a, hey, we're going to crush a fucking bottle. You can see.
I will say that would be a phenomenal rye for cocktails if you're making a Manhattan or a Sazerac.
A lot of overpowering flavor to cut through a lot of the other stuff.
Yeah, I think it's the high proof in a cocktail is always great, and I don't think it's that overpowering, but it's flavorful enough. That's a good cocktail rye.
That's a slap in the face.
Yeah, kind of.
That'd be great mixed with a bunch of other shit.
Some ice, a little water, a couple other ingredients. Phenomenal.
Yeah,
probably not getting a fucking sponsorship.
Go ahead and give your number. I'm reading.
I'm going 6'2".
I'm gonna go 6'5". if I didn't know it was hyped up to be something special.
So many things.
At the price point, I think I'd still probably be like, if you're into the rise, buy it.
What was it? $80, $90 bottle?
It was like $69, 69 or 79.
Yeah, bad.
I'd buy it all day long for $70.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. It's super fucking flavorful. It's a flavor bomb. I like it for that. I'd give it a higher review if it wasn't for California. And
What do you think California docks it? You think that's half a point?
It's 0.5. Yeah, it's a half a point. Then another half a point for right here. Trees for the future. Buy a bottle and we'll plant a tree. That's in line with your favorite fucking shoe company.
I'll tell you what, dude. The guy, you know what they're doing? They're driving up in Sonoma County in their Splash, their Ford Splash, with little saplings in the back, and planting them. That's what's happening.
I like buy a bottle and we'll put it in our pocket.
You like the stuff more that's
in our pocket. That's the kind of thing I want.
The stuff that's got ammunition on the label. Yeah, it's whiskey.
Man, I'm caught in a quandary because I want people to taste this because I think a lot of people, I didn't say most, a lot of people will enjoy the flavor profile because it's a spice bomb.
I think there's a moral dilemma if you have bad morals.
I don't have morals.
Okay, so it's hard to be a moral dilemma, but
yeah, fuck the trees and the Californians telling me they need to like plant more trees.
Yeah, quit burning the fuckers down, and you won't have to plant so many.
Yeah, and knock $5 off the bottle and don't plant trees, right? I like it, but it's because of all that,
you lost a point.
Yeah, it's going to be a 6.2 because of that.
6.2 is a review. So it was a 7.2. It's actually a decent. Decent review from Josh.
You put this in Tennessee and say we're going to put the profits in our pocket, and it's a 7.2.
That fucker that was ripping on the autocross course and it clipped a cone.
Yeah, it's a full second. It's a full second fucking penalty. What's yours?
I was 6.2.
Were you really?
I fucking reviewed it before you.
Okay, I apologize. I didn't pay attention to what you said.
I went 6.5.
What was your deduction?
I think you need to put an asterisk with a 7.2 next to yours, though.
Yeah, you put this from Tennessee, and you put Colonel Sanders on the front of this, and do a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
And if it says on the back that for every bottle purchased, we make bullets.
We chop down a tree.
Yeah. We make a bunch of fucking bullets. Then I don't know where they go, but they make them.
For every bottle sold, we fertilize an existing tree. I'd be fine with that. Take care of the trees that already exist. Don't plant a fucking new one. We got how many trees have we fucking got?
A shitload of trees.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of trees.
Oh boy,
fucking trees. Thanks again for listening to the Oil and Whiskey Podcast with the Roadster Shop, an Ironclad original. If you like the show, leave a rating and review. Jump down below. Give us that.
Leave the rating and the review so that Josh can see them because he's the only person that has access to them.
You can go to Apple and look at the reviews.
But I'm not going to.
Okay, well, don't say that. Don't say that I'm the only one that has access. I'm the only one that does it.
I just enjoy the process.
We have gotten a tremendous amount of reviews. It's been amazing.
We broke double digits.
Oh, dude, we're fucking untold amounts.
That's
how many.
That's a no.
That's it. No, we've gotten shit ton of reviews, uncountable. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. For some reason, that's like a thing that matters.
To subscribe.
If you're watching this via the YouTube, different than just regular YouTube.
Yeah, it's when you're old.
Yeah, no, if you pay and subscribe, it's the YouTube. Go down below, subscribe, like, hit that follow, all that. You know what I'm saying. We'll see you again next week.